me start by congratulating you on qualifying for the World Cup and also thanking you on behalf of the England fans for doing the job. How do you feel?
Yeah, thank you very much, Jamie. I mean, it's not me that's done the job. I mean, I'd like to think that I, and in particular my staff, Ray Lewington and Gary Neville and Dave Watson, that we've played our part and helped along the way. But the important things, the players, they've been fantastic all along. It's been a tough campaign. We found ourselves in a particularly tough group with three other teams really that could have quite easily got into the top two spots. So it's been a battle for us, but I'm delighted that we've done it. And I'm also very pleased in the manner in which we've done it, because these last two games to get the 6 points we needed, it sounds easy enough when you throw the idea out, but when you get onto that field of play and you've got Montenegro and Poland in front of you, it's a lot more difficult. To take 10 points out of the last 12 was a good performance. It was important, and it was particularly important because the Ukraine didn't let up. They also took 10 points out of the last 12. So it was very, very important for us to get our own 10 points. What it did mean, of course, was that the two other serious contenders, Montenegro and Poland, dropped right away, and it left us two at 22 and 21, and then the next best team down there on something like 15 or 16. So we opened up a big gap, if you like. But I think Ukraine and ourselves, we really put on a spurt at the end, and that point we got in Ukraine was an important one, because they'd taken a point from us at Wembley, and they must have fancied their chances with the form they were in of beating us in Kiev, especially given our injury situation at the time with three of our top forwards missing. But we gave a good performance there, got our 0-0, and that again, as you rightly say, put it back into our hands, whereby we knew if we could play well at Wembley in those two games, we could qualify. And the good fortune was at this time, the players that I wanted to have available to me, the ones with the attacking flair, the ones who can score the goals, they were there ready to play. 31 scored and four conceded. That's a great record, really. I think only a couple of teams matched us on that one. I think Spain had 3 goals, but they only played 8 games, so they could quite easily have conceded a goal in their last 2. So you're not going to get better than 4 goals conceded, and I don't think there were many teams that scored more than the 31. So we're really happy, to go 10 matches in a qualifying campaign for a World Cup is always, and to go through that unbeaten is always going to be very, very difficult. We would have loved an early goal, which would have settled down nerves and made life a bit easier, because the other team would have come out at us a bit earlier. It took into the second half against Montenegro, and it took just before half time against Poland before we got the goal, and that did, of course, open things up slightly. But I've been very pleased with the attacking play. I thought there was a golden spell in the last game against Poland, where for 25-30 minutes we had some spectacular attacks, but it only led to the 1 goal, which I thought was a pretty scant reward, really. And against Montenegro, I thought our attacking play right the way through was good, and of course we got more space against Montenegro because, once we went 1 up, and in particular when we went 2 up, they had no option but to throw caution to the wind, because a draw wasn't going to help them anyway.
When Stephen popped up and scored that second goal late on, what went through your mind at that moment?
Oh, that was a feeling of great relief, of course, because all the time you're 1-0 up, even though we were defending well enough and still looking quite dangerous ourselves. Until that second goal goes in, you can't really relax at any time, because who knows, any counter-attack could pay off, or you could even have a situation where someone lets fly from 25-30 yards and the ball flies into the roof of the net. So you're never comfortable at 1-0, but at 2-0, especially so late in the game, it really did draw the curtain down on Poland's chances of getting at least a point out of the game. And it meant that, as far as we were concerned, it was job done, and just await the final whistle so we could celebrate the fact that we're in Brazil.
You've said all along how important the support of the fans is to England, and obviously yourself as an England fan, you must be delighted that we're actually going to Brazil next summer.
Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic, and I'm sure that for our fans, they'll have a wonderful time out there, and I'm sure that we'll do our level best to give them something to feel proud about, because wherever we've gone, and we've had some fairly long journeys, to go into places like the Ukraine, and places like Montenegro. They've not been easy journeys for the fans, but all the ones who've gone out there, they've supported us brilliantly. And at Wembley, we're in the throes at least of making that a place where it's hard for teams to come and beat us, and we certainly felt in these last two games the support was really palpable, even with a lot of Poles there the other night, anxious to make an awful lot of noise. Our fans, they stepped up and made certain that we weren't dominated by the away support in any way, shape or form.